"Mister, can I buy a one-way ticket to the farthest place possible?" I nearly spilled my coffee. The voice was small but serious, like a tiny businessman closing a high-stakes deal. I turned my head and found myself staring down at a little boy, no older than 6, peering up at me from beneath a knitted blue hat that covered most of his ears. His backpack was nearly half his size, making him look like a miniature traveler ready to board the next great adventure. I blinked. "A one-way ticket?" He nodded, standing on his tiptoes to make himself look taller. "Yep. The farthest place possible." I glanced around the train station, expecting a frantic mother to come running any second now. But no one seemed to be searching for a missing child. The usual morning rush was in full swing, commuters hurrying to catch their trains, an elderly couple arguing over directions, a station worker sweeping the floor like he had all the time in the world. I turned back to the boy. "And where exactly is the farthest place possible?" He frowned, thinking hard. "I dunno, but it has to be really, really far. Like a place where nobody knows me." That last part made something in my chest tighten. For years now, I had been coming to this train station every morning, drinking the same coffee at the same cafe, watching the world move without me. It had started after my wife passed. At first, I told myself I just liked the sound of the trains. Then I realized it was more than that. I liked being somewhere, even if I had nowhere to go. But this kid, he had a destination in mind. And suddenly I needed to know why. I leaned forward, lowering my voice like we were about to discuss top-secret business. "So tell me, kid, why do you need to go so far away?" He straightened his little shoulders. "I'm not running away. Didn't say you were. I'm going on an adventure," he clarified. "Ah," I nodded. "And what kind of adventure are we talking about?" "The kind where I go somewhere else. Somewhere better." I raised an eyebrow. "Better than here? This is a pretty nice town." "Not for me," he said, scuffing his sneaker against the tiled floor. That's when I noticed it, the slight waver in his voice, the way his fingers curled around the straps of his backpack like they were the only thing holding him together. I sighed, taking another sip of my coffee. "Well, kid, hate to break it to you, but train tickets cost money." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a crumpled $1 bill and 3 nickels. "I have this." I nearly choked. "You planning to get to the farthest place possible with $1.15? His face fell. "Is that not enough?" I shook my head, trying not to laugh. "Not unless the train's got a kids ride-free deal I don't know about." His shoulders slumped. For a moment, he just stood there, staring at the floor, his little hands tightening around the money, like it was his only ticket to something better. Then, just as quickly, he perked up again. "Well, maybe you could help me." "Oh boy, I should have seen that coming." I sighed, rubbing a hand over my face. "Kid, I don't know what's going on, but train stations aren't exactly in the business of giving away free tickets." "But you could buy one for me," he said, tilting his head like it was the most logical solution in the world. I let out a short laugh. "And why would I do that?" He thought about it for a second. "Because you look like a nice old man." I nearly spit out my coffee. "Nice? Maybe. Old? Watch yourself, kid." He giggled, then quickly turned serious again. "So will you help me?" I set my cup down, exhaling. "How about this? Before I go buying you a ticket to nowhere, why don't you tell me why you need to leave so badly?" His little hands clutched the straps of his backpack. "My parents don't have time for me," he said simply. "They're always working, always busy. And I figured, maybe if I go somewhere else, I'll find somebody who wants to be with me." The words hit me harder than I expected. Because I knew that feeling. After my wife passed, the house had become too quiet. My kids were grown, too busy with their own lives. I'd wake up every morning, make coffee for one, eat dinner alone, and wonder if this was all that was left for me. I never thought I'd hear that same loneliness coming from a 6-year-old. For the first time, I really looked at him. Small frame, wide eyes filled with both determination and sadness. A little boy who just wanted to matter to someone. And the crazy thing was, I understood exactly how he felt. I cleared my throat. "So, You're saying you're looking for somebody who wants to spend time with you. He nodded eagerly. Yeah. I leaned back, folding my arms. You know, there might be an easier way to do that than hopping on a train. His brow furrowed. Like what? I thought for a moment, then smirked. What if, instead of finding a place far away, you found someone right here who could use some company? His face scrunched in confusion. Like who? I gave him a pointed look. He blinked. Then slowly his eyes widened. You mean you? I shrugged. Well, I'm here every morning drinking coffee alone. Wouldn't mind some company. And I bet a kid like you has a million stories to tell. His expression wavered between surprise and consideration. And would you listen? I smiled. Kid, I've got all the time in the world. For the first time, his lips curled into a real, genuine smile. Okay, he said. But can we get a cookie first? I let out a laugh, standing up. Deal. But I'm picking the cookie. None of that weird raisin stuff. He grinned. Chocolate chip. Now you're speaking my language. And just like that, my usual morning routine had changed forever. Sammy sat across from me at the cafe, his little hands gripping a chocolate chip cookie like it was the most important thing in the world. He took a big bite, eyes flicking up to me between chews, as if trying to decide whether I was trustworthy. I let him have his moment. After all, kids don't just spill their secrets to strangers. And if I had learned one thing in my 72 years, it was that silence, when used right, could make people open up more than words ever could. Sure enough, after a long pause, he spoke. You ever been somewhere far, mister? I took a sip of my coffee. Depends what you mean by far. He thought about it. Like a place where nobody knows you. I exhaled, watching a train pull into the station. Yeah, kid. I have. His small fingers played with the crumbs on the table. Did it feel good? I studied him carefully. He wasn't just asking about distance. He was asking about escape. I leaned forward. Not really. He frowned. Why not? I drummed my fingers on my cup. Because no matter how far you go, you still take yourself with you. His little brows furrowed. That sounds confusing. I chuckled. Yeah, it confused me too when I was your age. But let me ask you something. Do you really think running away will make your parents miss you less? He shifted in his chair, suddenly very interested in his cookie. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't even notice. I sighed. Tell you what? Let's test that theory. He shot me a suspicious look. How? I pulled out my old flip phone, flipping it open with a dramatic snap. I call them. His eyes went round as quarters. Right now? Yep. What if they don't care? I met his gaze, my voice firm but gentle. What if they do? For a moment, he hesitated. Then slowly, he gave me the number. I pressed the call button, half expecting to get a voicemail. But the phone barely rang twice before a panicked voice picked up. Hello? Hello? Who is this? Is this about Sammy? The sheer desperation in her voice hit me, like a punch to the gut. I glanced at Sammy, whose eyes were now as wide as the train station clock. I cleared my throat. Yes, ma'am. My name's Jack. I'm here at the train station with your son. He's safe. There was a sharp inhale, followed by frantic rustling. Oh my God! Oh my God! We've been looking everywhere. We called the police. Sammy's mouth dropped open. You did? Yes, we did. Sammy, sweetie, are you okay? Are you hurt? He stared at the phone in my hand, his tiny fingers tightening around the edges of the table. You noticed I was gone? His mother's voice broke. Of course we noticed. We love you, sweetheart. We were terrified. Sammy swallowed hard, his tough guy act slipping away piece by piece. I softened. They're on their way, kid. He nodded slowly, looking down at his hands. I thought maybe they wouldn't care. I smiled gently. Told you. Sometimes grown-ups forget to say things out loud. But that doesn't mean they don't feel them. He didn't say anything. But for the first time since I met him, he didn't look like he wanted to run. 15 minutes later, the train station doors flew open, and in rushed a man and woman, their faces pale with worry. Sammy! His mother dropped to her knees, pulling him into a crushing hug. His father followed, placing both hands on his son's small shoulders, his breath shaky. "We were so scared," his mother murmured into his hair. "Why would you run off like that?" Sammy hesitated. Then, in the smallest voice, he said, "I thought maybe you wouldn't care." His parents froze. I saw it in their faces, the guilt, the pain, the realization that their son had been feeling invisible. His father took a breath, his voice thick. "Buddy, we care more than anything." Sammy pulled back just enough to look at them. "But you're always busy." His mother wiped at her eyes. "I know, sweetheart. And I'm so sorry. We never meant to make you feel like that." She turned to me, finally noticing I was there. "Are you the man who called us?" I nodded. "Jack." His father stood and shook my hand firmly. "Jack, we don't even know how to thank you." "No thanks needed," I said simply. "Just maybe take some extra time with this kid. He's got a lot to say." Sammy grinned up at me. "He said I talk a lot." His father ruffled his hair. "Well, he's not wrong." We all chuckled. There was a long pause, a comfortable one, a moment of understanding. I had only met this kid an hour ago, yet somehow he had reminded me of something I had forgotten, how much it mattered to have someone really see you. Sammy turned back to me. "So, I guess I don't need that train ticket anymore, huh?" I smiled. "Nope. Looks like you already found the place you belong." His face lit up. Then, to my surprise, he stepped forward and threw his small arms around me in a tight hug. For a second, I didn't move. Then I gently patted his back. "You know," he said, his voice muffled against my jacket, "you don't have to drink coffee alone every morning." I chuckled, warmth blooming in my chest. "That's so?" He pulled back, grinning. "Yeah, you should come over for breakfast sometime." His parents immediately nodded. "We'd love that, Jack," his mother said sincerely. For the first time in years, I felt something shift inside me, something lighter, something that felt a lot like belonging. I tipped my hat. "Well, if pancakes are involved, I just might take you up on that." Sammy beamed. And just like that, a lonely old man and a little boy who thought he was invisible had found exactly what they were looking for, each other.